Framework number 9, past, present, and future. Now, I don't know about you guys, but this was actually a very confusing concept for me until I put together this slide. When I put together this slide, everything just kind of clicked. And I really hope it does click for you as well. There's a lot of stuff going on in this slide. For now, please don't pay attention to this area over here. I want you to focus in on up here. So on a real basic overview perspective, we have 3 sections. Imagine this as a timeline. We have past here, present, and future. And so obviously the present is where we are now. And as a hypothetical situation, let's just use the word believe. I believe she blah blah blah. So believe is in present tense, and future tense we have I will believe, I believed in past tense. And I'm not going to use any fancy words like present imperfect or all that kind of stuff. All of that stuff just totally confuses me. So I'm going to just explain the phrases you see here, past, present, future. I'm gonna have a past, but that's about it. So here we have past, present, future, and what this does is the first verb here, believe, just sets the tone. It sets the tone for which of these boxes should we use. You can say I believe she studies, and then there's a set of phrases here. Actually, I'll just introduce them here right now. This word believe sets you in this context, and then so you can basically choose from these 3 options once you use present tense. On the other hand, if you said I believed she study and use the word study, what can we do with that? Well, here we have the different options you have, and and these yellow boxes are words that kind of indicate that you're in the past and it goes into the present, so it's still happening. Or you can say it's happening right now, or sometime in the near future, and it continues to happen in the future. So these are used for conditions where you overlap past or present and present and future. So over here, these are the options for past tense, and then if you want to go from this past tense area into the present tense, then you use had studied. Now it's really important to note that in these cases I use the word present here, but really present is just in the context of past tense. So don't think of present as being now. Think of present as present in the context of whatever box they're in. So here we got the present of the present. Here we got the present in the context of past tense, and of course we have in the future tense. We have the same 3 boxes. So these 3 are the same over here: past, present, future, past, present, future. But then overall you have this past here, present, and future. Let's look at this one. I believe she studies. Or you can say I believe she studied. I believe she will study. Now, if you're trying to say that she was studying in the past and she's still currently studying, then you can say I believe she has studied. I believe over the past 3 weeks she has studied for the exam. Or if you can say, if you want to suggest something in the future, I believe in 3 weeks she will have studied every single section of the GMAT. So that's if you want to talk about something that goes from the present onto the future, but it stops at some point at the future. So I believe in 3 weeks she will have studied. I believe over the past 3 weeks she has studied. So these are the two ones that you use if you kind of transition in different states of time. But generically, you would just say, I believe she studied, I believe she studies, and I believe she will study. Now, technically, you can kind of jump over here and use this end of the spectrum. I believe she would have studied. So yeah, technically, you can kind of bring this into this present box and say, I believe she would have studied, if she knew how much studying could help her score. So then technically you can have this. But as a general rule, this is the box that you should know for present tense. When you have a verb here that is in present tense, that kind of sets the tone for the time period that we're talking about. But notice that you don't use this past tense here. This is what I call past. You can't say, I believe she had studied. I believe she had studied for the exam. You don't say that. You just say, I believe she studied for the exam. That's really what you want. There's no need to say had studied, because that's further into the past. When here is studied is all you need. So this is really just basically everything that you can use with the word believe and the verb to study. Now let's jump to the past tense. I believed, this is in the past tense. I believed she studied. So at some point in the past, you believed that she studied. So this is present in the context of this past tense that we already just established. Now you can say, I believed she had studied for the GMAT for several weeks before she took the exam. I believed she had studied. So the only case you use a past tense is when you're already in the past tense and you want to describe something that happened even further into the past. So it's important that you see this is ed in the past tense. Only then can you use something like this. On the GMAT, you might see a sentence in the present tense, and it'll give you a lot of different options, one of which is past tense, like here. But you have to know that you can't use past tense when you're set in the present over here. So only when you're set in the past tense can you use past tense. Now what about in the future? I will believe she will study. There's no future NA here. You can say, I will believe that she will have studied for 3 weeks. So at some point in the future, you will believe that she will have studied for X amount of time. So these are the options you can have for future. Notice there aren't that many options here. The most options you have are in the present tense, and then less so with the past tense, but even less so with future tense. Now over the next couple of slides, I'm actually going to go into a lot more detail for each of these cases. I just wanted to give a quick overview. I'm going to show you a timeline and put dots on the timeline to show you what kind of events we're talking about, so it's really easy to understand. But for now, I just wanted to give you a quick overview. Over here on the bottom, we have some examples. It's not always the case that you have a verb here like believe or believed. Sometimes you have phrases like when she arrived that kind of indicate that you're in the past. So when you see phrases like when she arrived, then you should be using this set of verb phrases. Also, when you have the word remember, the word remember is in present tense, but usually suggests something in the past. The word remember just kind of, by definition, suggests something in the past. So the next word that you use most likely will have these kind of options. Likewise, for the future, words like promise or when she arrives kind of suggest something in the future. The word promise obviously is in present tense, but phrases like when she arrives kind of sets the time for the future. So then the options for what kind of verb phrases you have are basically the ones that you have in this future box right here. So here we got the box for past, present, and future, and the corresponding options that you have. I hope this is really helpful. I wish grammar teachers told me this way back, but they haven't. But I put it together here for you, and I'm going to go into more detail in the next few slides.